And let us sing for joy to the Lord. Let us shout aloud to the rock of our salvation. Let us come before him with thanksgiving and extol him with music and song. For the Lord is the great God, the great King above all gods. In his hand are the depths of the earth, and the mountain peaks belong to him. The sea is his, for he has made it, and his hands formed the dry land. Come, let us bow down in worship. Let us kneel before the Lord, our Maker. For he is our God, and we are the people of his pasture and the flock under his care. Today, if only you would hear his voice.
Thank you. Just get all my bits set up. So, as it's been shared, we're speaking about wonder today, and we're in a new series, Teach Us How to Pray. If you don't know who I am, my name's Amy, and I am a mum, I'm a wife, and I'm really passionate about worship. I love leading worship, and I'm a member here at Telford Minster. And so we're going to just have a quick look at what it means to come to God in wonder. And when I thought about how to describe wonder, it's a bit of a difficult one to describe, I thought, but actually it's definitely like a response, isn't it? Like oh, wow. That's the word that kind of comes to my mind, wow. And having a young toddler, and I don't know about you parents in the room, seeing your children take in the world around you, it's such a privilege to see because they're really unfiltered and they haven't lived through life. And there's all these things that they're seeing for the first time, and just seeing the look in their eyes is just like, it's amazing to watch. And wow is definitely a word that comes to my mouth, to my mind when I see things. It's like, oh, it takes my breath away. Like we saw some images earlier in the quiz. We even saw the Northern Lights from Telford, didn't we? The other month, which is amazing. And also, another thing that came to my mind with the word wow is there is a particular book that my son absolutely loves, and it's called Wow, Said the Owl. I don't know if anyone else has heard of this book. And we've got a picture up on the screen, one of the pages. And it's this owl that instead of going to sleep as the sun comes up, it stays awake all day to see all the beautiful colours of the day. Wow, said the owl, is the theme that comes throughout the whole book. Wow, said the owl, as the yellow sun shone through the morning mist. And wow, said the owl, as a white, fluffy clouds floated across the bright blue sky. There's so many things to see in the world that are so beautiful that God has made. So we read through Psalm 95 today, and I love this psalm. It's so great because it takes us on a journey. It takes us on a journey into wonder. And we're going to go on that journey briefly again. So if we could have the words up on the screen, that would be great for Psalm 95. We're just going to read through them. And what I want you to do is, as we read out verse 1 together, I want you to turn to one of your neighbours, and we're going to read it to each other. So make sure it's the same person, so you're looking at their face. So let's read this together. So, come, let us sing for joy to the Lord. Let us shout aloud to the rock of our salvation. Okay, and then let's turn to another neighbour. Right, let us come before him with thanksgiving and extol him with music and song. Oh, there's nothing passive about that, is there? You have to come and you have to get involved. You have to sing out loud. And we did that already this morning, didn't we? We entered in to his gates with praise and thanksgiving. And that's what we're encouraged to do as we approach God. We're supposed to approach him with thanksgiving and praise, because it's not dependent on what's going on in our lives. It's who God is, and it shifts our perspective to see who he is. And then as we bring the next couple of verses up. For the Lord is the great God, the great King above all gods. This is recognizing God for who he is. The might, the majesty, the wonder. And then as we carry on into verse 6 and 7. Oh, yeah. Come. Let's read this together. Come, let us bow down in worship. Let us kneel before the Lord our Maker. And the next verse as well. For he is our God, and we are the people of his pasture, the flock under his care. If only you would hear his voice. And that just takes us to that place of worship, of wonder. That wow moment, bowing down and kneeling before God, recognizing that actually he is God. He is the good shepherd, and we are the sheep of his pasture. And I find that really reassuring, that there is a God who cares for us and wants us to live in his care. It's that wow wonder. And so as we've taken that journey into wonder, why do we need to do it? Why do we do it as Christians? Apart from it being a bit of a natural response to who God is. It's also a weapon, which sounds a bit strange. But as we worship and wonder at God, as we shift our perspective, as we move out of that place of what's going on in our little world and seeing what God has done and who he is, it shifts us into a place of seeing things for how they really are, how God sees them. And have you ever noticed it's not always easy to do that, is it? I certainly find that. Sometimes when I come to church, I'm not feeling great. I might have stuff going on in my life. There might have been a bit of a busy morning. And as I walk out day to day, there's stuff that goes on, isn't there? And that stuff can draw us away from God. And the reality is, we do live in a clash of kingdoms. That there is a war on our focus and on our wonder, on our worship. It says in another part of the Bible, there's an enemy who prowls around like a roaring lion looking for prey to devour. And that's not to scare us, but that's to make us mindful and watchful that actually, if we don't keep our eyes fixed on God in wonder, then we can get taken off track by these everyday things, or even by these big things. The enemy doesn't want us to worship, doesn't want us to wonder. And that is why it's so powerful, because the enemy recognizes that when we stand in that place, we are powerful. So what do we need to do? What do we need to do? We need to guard that. We need to keep coming before God in worship and in wonder. And I just, as a closing thought, I felt really drawn to that word at the beginning of the psalm, which is come. Come. There's no conditions on who you are, what you've done, how long you've been a Christian, what you've done in your life. It doesn't matter. Just come. Come as you are. And it says as well in another part of the Bible that unless you change and become like little children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. And actually that means that childlike wonder, like I was talking about at the beginning, my toddler seeing the world through his eyes. Actually, that means we're supposed to come to God like that, doesn't it? that childlike wonder without the filters of life, and recognizing God for who he is. So come as you are, and come like a child. And I think that's an incredibly freeing, releasing thing to do. Later on in that psalm, it says that it's talking about the Israelites who wandered around in the wilderness and they forgot who God was. They forgot what he'd done. And don't we do that so often? We need to allow our hearts to constantly be soft and keep on remembering who he is. And then we will live from that place of rest in God. And as we're in this sort of time of rest with Sabbath Sundays and we're having breaks from school, I feel like that encouragement today to really wonder in God and rest in God as we keep our eyes fixed on him.